David Yarrow has a good lesson about learning from your mistakes and seeing failure as a stepping stone on the road to success. He says, I take my fair share of bad pictures, and that's not false modesty. In my career, I've taken huge numbers of bad pictures, and some good ones too. I'm quite proud of that, actually, because it shows that I've taken a lot of photographs, which is good. How can you get better as a photographer if you don't take many pictures? You can't. It's as simple as that. It also shows determination and a willingness to learn from mistakes. Or not even mistakes, but things you haven't got quite right yet. Like I said just earlier, we need to keep putting the reps in, putting the iterations in, taking more photographs, sending more emails out there, doing more of the same thing that you enjoy doing and that you want to make a career out of. You can't become a professional athlete by running once a week. You can't become a professional podcaster by doing one episode a month. You can't become a professional photographer by taking a photo once a week or going on a shoot once a week. It has to be as much as possible, preferably every single day. This is exactly what the greats do. They put the work in over a long period of time and then they get called an overnight success, but it's not. We have to keep failing every day and expect to improve from it in the long term. And we will if we're patient enough. And yeah, I don't think failure is a bad thing. I think it's a prerequisite for success, David Yarrow saying. I think everyone that we admire and that we'll be studying have had a lot of failure in their life because they've taken a lot of action. They haven't been scared to fail, and that's ultimately led to their success. So David Yarrow says, be your own biggest critic. I don't let myself off the hook much. It's important to be tough on yourself, to be discerning about the pictures you make. Are you hard on yourself? Could you be more so in terms of the images you put out there? That toughness should manifest itself not just at the photography stage, but also in your edit. Let's set a really high bar in terms of what pictures the world needs to see. There are far too many images out there already for us to add mediocre ones. If you spend days in the classic Inca Trail towards Machu Picchu in Peru, are you really going to put all of the hundreds of images you took during that time on your website or Instagram? Is every one of those pictures really worth showing? I sincerely doubt it. A common mistake photographers make is to use their website or Instagram, the two places where most people encounter your work, as a kind of image dump. Don't throw everything you shoot up there. Choose only the strongest images. If I create 4 pictures in a year that I'm proud to show the world, I'm a happy man. I always ask myself whether a photograph is good enough, and you should too. The content must be really strong. I want to take pictures that grab people's attention and then hold it, and that is hard, but it's always my starting premise. So yeah, I've definitely fallen into the trap of doing this over the years from when I started, putting way too many pictures out there. What David Yarrow is saying here is put loads of preparation in, take some photos, take a lot of photos, but only choose the top 0.1%, because the top 0.1% are the ones worth showing. The 99% of images that you make are not worth showing. They're not worth putting on your Instagram. They're not worth showing to galleries or to your friends or family. Just show them your best work. And if you do that long enough, you will succeed as a photographer. That's exactly what David Yarrow is saying here, and is good advice to follow. So I'm getting to the end of the book now, and I think this is where David Yarrow's business wisdom really starts to shine through. He says, in my view, as important as taking pictures and making prints is the business side, getting your name out there and selling your work. If you are serious about making a living from photography, sooner or later, you'll have to engage in discussions about money. We live in an era when, whatever your creative skill, you must look at how you're going to monetize your art. When I decided to make photography my full-time job and print sales my principal source of income, it forced me to think carefully about how I could make it work. David Yarrow also goes on to say, before I got going in photography in a big way, maybe 10 years ago, I looked at all the aspects of the market and analysed every way it was possible to make photography work financially. I came to the conclusion that the only route to go down if I wanted to make proper money was fine art photography. If that is the route you choose, you'll need a strong brand because, as we all know, everyone's a photographer today, to one degree or another. Brand identity is at the heart of it. I work hard to make images that I hope are immediately recognizable as a David Yarrow photo. For me, for my brand, that means for the most part striking black and white images where my subject is pin sharp and it feels as though it's coming out of the frame. I hope viewers will be moved in some way by what they're looking at. That's what I'm trying to do, to bring viewers as close as I can to nature and its wonderful creations, or to immerse them in scenes that I've created. It's becoming increasingly difficult to make money from photography, so you have to be clever about how you do it. For me, that means selling limited edition prints on the art market. Crucial to making that work is making your work desirable, and that means making your images hard to get hold of. There's no point in creating a work of art and then printing 500 copies of it. That's a poster run. Normally, I do 2 editions of 12, and that's it. If someone calls up asking for a print and 24 copies have been sold, I have to say, sorry, you can't get it. That's the key to having pricing power, to making a print coveted, difficult to get hold of, limited, exclusive. Selling print successfully is all about provenance, quality, and integrity. It might sound vulgar, but I think everybody has to be a salesperson. It's about being able to engage with your audience. I might spend 100 days a year photographing, but I probably spend many more days marketing myself and my work. Let me repeat what David Yarrow just said. I think everybody has to be a salesperson. It's about being able to engage with your audience. I might spend 100 days a year photographing, but I probably spend many more days marketing myself and my work. There are 2 parts of the job in my view. There's the creative side, which of course is a platform for everything, because without your art, you're nothing. But you have to get out and sell as well. Part of how I do that is by telling stories. On my website, for example, each image has a name, and I try to tell a little bit of the story behind each image to give people insight. Keeping people informed via social media is a good approach too. So that is such good advice for any creative person. You have to have the creative side, but you also have to be a salesperson. This is repeated in Arnold Schwarzenegger's biography. Work like how and advertise. It's all about sales. Arnold wasn't just an actor. He wasn't just a bodybuilding champion. He saw himself as a businessman first. And what David Yarrow is saying is, if we want to make it as creative people in a competitive, huge industry that's only growing every single day, we have to stand out by making a brand and by showing our work to people and by selling it, whether that's making a podcast like this or posting it on Instagram or creating a newsletter or showing it to galleries or just having incredibly high standards for what you actually show to the world. It's all about selling your work and showing it to the right people, because without that side, without the business side, you're just a hobbyist. And it's as simple as that. And it's just so good to hear coming from one of the best-selling photographers of our era, David Yarrow. And it's something we definitely need to follow as creative people, trying to do what we love, which is creating work. He says as well, reach is a very important word for photographic sales. How big is your reach? You need partners to help extend it. Galleries will allow you to do that, but it takes time to break into that world. I understand how galleries work because I spent a lot of time studying them. So David Yarrow is saying, put the research in, do your homework, study the galleries. My advice in regard with galleries is to never give up. I got rejected by my most important gallery several times before they took me on. Second, don't try for gallery representation too early. Galleries are not going to be interested in one picture. If you've taken a great picture, that's not good enough for a show. You'll need to present a portfolio of pictures. If you turn up prematurely, it could put off a gallery forever. So bide your time. Wait until you have a portfolio of maybe 12 to 15 images. Try to find a gallery close to home and build from there. There's nothing wrong with starting small. Big things start small, remember that. Start humbly and work steadily to build up a strong portfolio of images. And as ever, read. Use the internet. Look at galleries. Look at every gallery artist relationship you can find. So that is literally reinforcing what we're doing now by reading this book and listening to this podcast. Researching the greats who came before us. Read. Using the internet. We need to keep doing that. And not shoot our shot too early. Make sure we have a high quality portfolio before going to galleries. But from David Yarrow's experience, the fine art gallery market is the best one to go down. And this is the last page, and he says, I hope you've enjoyed this book.